Hello friends, welcome back to Graceful Living and welcome to all of you that are new here today. In today's video, what I'm going to be doing is just decorating a couple spaces here in our home. Now I purchased a new piece for our small entryway, so I'm taking the bookcase that I normally have there and putting it into our dining area, and I'm really excited about having the extra shelves there to decorate throughout the year, and I'm super excited to kick off my spring decor there and in our entry. Plus, at the end of this video, what I'm really hoping to accomplish is to kind of walk through the process of that floral arrangement I put together a few weeks ago. I asked if you were interested in that, and so many of you said yes. So let's all kind of take a moment and pray that once I take it all apart, I can actually put it back together and it's going to look okay for you. But for now, let's go ahead, get started on these two areas, and then we'll jump into that. Now, if you watched my last video, you will know that I had the pleasure of thrift shopping in Palm Springs, and it ended up being my favorite place to thrift. Now, this small urn of sorts is one of my finds, and though I absolutely love the shape of it, the red color just was not my taste, so I did paint it. I ended up pairing it with this spring trellis from Hobby Lobby, which I simply hot glued in place. It was the perfect fit and exactly what I had hoped for. The next thing I'm going to add is some beautiful vibrant moss. You all know I love my moss. And then to add to the trellis itself, I am going to incorporate some greenery I purchased at Hobby Lobby years ago. It is still available, but I unfortunately do not have the number for you today. It does come in a bunch, and I have simply cut pieces off to use in different displays. Then Jeremiah had a great idea. He suggested I take my moss up and onto the trellis in spots, and I love it. Then the last thing I am going to add is a string of fairy lights, just to add some light to the darkness of our entry throughout the day. Moving on to my next little DIY project, I am going to simply be gluing some vintage book pages to this small chalkboard that I purchased last year, 70% off at Michael's. I'm not sure if they still have them in stock, but I'm going to use it to prop in my entry vignette. As I started putting things together for that area, Ronnie mentioned adding a pop of gold because he is going to be painting that wall black for me this weekend, and I am so excited about that. So I thought this might be the perfect little pop that it needed. And now once the wall is completely painted and put back together, I might add in a couple more pops of gold, but we'll see once it's all in place. I have been looking for something new for this area for quite a while now, but between the size of the wall, the door opening to it, and where the light switch is, it has proved to be harder than it looks. So when I spotted this small console table and mirror at Hobby Lobby, I brought them home to see if they would work, and I really think they do. Now I wanted something with more of a vintage look and feel, so I love the chippiness of the table, and of course the ornate top of the mirror is perfect for me as well. So now that I have this all in place, I'm going to bring in those couple DIYs and see how it all comes together. Okay, now moving into the dining area, I think having this bookshelf here is going to be a great change. I love the idea of having a few extra shelves to decorate, and I do feel like it serves as a divider between the dining area and the living room. Now, to decorate this space, I'll be using some of my latest thrift finds from Palm Springs alongside some of the things you have seen many times before. Of course, keeping spring in mind by bringing in those vibrant pops of green. Normally, this shelving unit is on the darker side. So I also decided to see what fairy lights would look like. And so far, I'm really liking it. During the day, if the lights are off, this room tends to be on the darker side to begin with. And then adding in the darker shelves, this allows to see what is in the shelf a little bit easier, and then just add the little twinkle of lights throughout the day, and I really am enjoying it. I will say I love the end result of this shelf. I think the small pops of green and little touches of terracotta definitely say spring. The fairy lights seem to be the perfect touch to the darkness of it all, and mixing in items I already had on hand with some vintage pieces I recently picked up makes for a beautiful display. The cloches I found at Target a few months back and could not resist picking them up because of the price. And also, I found these little moss bunnies there. We don't do the Easter bunny here, but I do love incorporating these little moss spring bunnies around the house. I think they are so cute. And now on to that floral arrangement from a few videos back. I wanted to start out by taking a closer look at what I used and where the florals were purchased. I used so many different types of florals from many different places. My favorites are from Michael's, and unfortunately I do not have the tag. And since being back there a couple times this year, they have yet to get any more in. But I promise as soon as I see them, I will let you know. I do love their look over the others. They have a more vintage feel and look to them, and they do look a little bit more realistic to me as well. Now, I have some florals from Hobby Lobby in here, and even use some from my fall floral purchases at Joann Fabrics and some from Home Goods. The greenery I used is a mixture of bunches I found at Hobby Lobby and ivy I have had for over 20 years, if you can believe that. And then I did finish it all off with some wire garland that have tiny little pearls attached to it. I purchased at a local decor shop here in town. Now, if you are looking for wire garlands or tassels, I would definitely say look for smaller local decor shops in your city or town. That is where I find most of mine, especially if it's something a little prettier than the norm. You're going to find it at a local shop and not at a big box store. Now on to putting the arrangement together. I do tend to start out with some of my larger floral pieces first. I like to just adjust them, kind of balance them out, making sure that I have different heights going on, and then that will be filled in later on. And because this urn has a handle on either side, I thought some greenery flowing down each side would be a really nice touch, and that is where the bunches of greenery come into play, along with some of those small pieces of ivy that I've had for so long. Next, I moved on to my biggest filler piece, which is actually one of my fall florals from Joann Fabrics. And once I get this into place, I know that what I'm going to be doing next is just filling in the holes with everything that I have left. Now, I do try to balance out my arrangements with color. If I have an ivory floral on one side, then I try to incorporate another ivory floral on the other side, and so on. The last thing that I will incorporate is any of my smaller filler and then my garland. The garland is just something a little unexpected, but really adds to it in my opinion. And that's it. I think it comes together really easily and looks very beautiful. I have really enjoyed it here on our buffet table in the dining area, and I may end up using it in the living room for springtime as well. So that is my process. Obviously, I am far from a pro at this, and there are probably so many of you thinking, why in the world did she do it that way? But I do think it works out in the end, and I hope that this just encourages you and gives you some inspiration to create your own floral arrangement at home. It's super easy, and as you can see, you can work with what you have. Now, for those of you that follow me over on Instagram or Facebook, you will know that we had quite the scare with Brooklyn. She had a horrible allergic reaction at the vet the other day, and I will be the first to let you know I do not handle stress well. I am anxious to begin with, and I tend to let my mind go for a ride down the street of only the worst can happen. Now, I know I am not alone with this emotional struggle, and so I thought I would share a bit of our family devotion that Ronnie put together this morning. It starts out by, I heard it said, the struggle you are in today is developing the strength you will need tomorrow. This is particularly important in relation to one's divine or personal aspirations. Henry David Thoreau cautioned, do not lose hold of your dreams or aspirations, for if you do, you may still exist, but you have ceased to live. He pointedly described the invaluable role aspirations and dreams offer us. No dream, no progress. No vision, no life. Just existing in limbo, pushed along by consequence. The struggle towards one's goals and dreams is real. The way of real growth and progress is a grind at times. That's an acceptable reality for the dreamers. The struggle is for strength, and the strength is for the struggle. Visionaries grind through so they can be refined and retooled. They keep grinding so their capacity will match the mountains ahead. Dreamers grind because what they are after is worth the work. Thankfully, Christ offers rest, especially for the grinding visionary. Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take up my yoke and learn from me, because I am lowly and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. I hope this will encourage you as it has me. I know I will be weary and that the struggle comes with what is worthwhile. But I also know that with Him, it includes rest too. So if you need it, take a knee and find rest, and then get back into that grind. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Remember to stay safe, be blessed, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.